Good morning, it's KHEA Radio. It's just after 9 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, and I have my friend Blake in studio. Blake, what's up, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be here. It's exciting. I was thinking about this morning. It's been over 2 years since the first time I joined you guys. So it's been a lot has happened in the past few years.
Yeah, it has. So somebody hasn't had the opportunity to meet you yet.
Yeah.
Can you share with them the name of your business and what you got going on?
Absolutely, man. So my company is Freedom Hawk Home Buyers. We buy and sell real estate. We started here in Galveston County. That's where we started. My first deal was in Dickinson, Texas, and now we're actually all over Texas, and we're looking to go nationwide. So
yeah,
it's been an exciting ride, man.
I'll see you post, and it's like, hey, I got a deal in Port Lavaca. I'm in San Antonio. I got something in Santa Fe and in Texas City, Houston. Houston. You're all over the place.
Yep, absolutely, man.
Yeah,
but it's already here.
It started here.
That's it.
Cool. So you're originally from Galveston County.
Yeah,
right?
I was born in Galveston. Raised in half my life in Freeport and half my life in Alvin. So and then I lived in Clear Lake for 15 years. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is my hometown, man.
Yeah. I was talking to Joe Bettis at Ron Carter.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, I know Blake. And so we were just talking, cut up a bit. But Joe Bettis and Lucy Bettis, shout out to Ron Carter, League City. But, he's from New York, and then he played college ball in Hawaii, and he ended up over here and has been in the car sales for most of his life. So it's just cool seeing how people intertwine and know each other. And
dude, it's a big world, but it's a small world at the same time. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So Freedom Hawk. Has the home buyers always been on there?
Nah,
I didn't think so.
So I added that in October of last year, and we kind of rebuilt a little bit. We as you grow in a company, sometimes it's evolution, right? The evolution of a business, and so we added the home buyers. Added some new team members. Took on an awesome business partner also. So. It's been a wild ride, man, but we're growing and expanding, so it's crazy.
Why would you say it was important to add that? Because the name is everything, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, so Freedom Hawk was something that started, October 30th, 2018 is when I came up with the name. And that's kind of like my brand, right? That's who I am. I do other things too. So that's kind of what I represent and what I put out to the marketplace. But for that particular business with the buying and selling real estate, I just felt like it was appropriate to add the home buyers because it's a little more clear for people, right? And our sellers and buyers and everything to know, this is exactly what we do. So
yeah, because otherwise, Freedom Hawk, it just sounds cool. The logo looks good. It sounds
cool, yeah. But it's kind of like it's unclear. It's like what do you do, right? So Freedom Hawk Home Buyers, and then if there's other businesses, and it can be Freedom Hawk, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So it just Freedom Hawk is kind of who I am as a embodying a brand, and then home buyers is what we do on the real estate stuff.
And it depends on who you're talking to, who your audience is. If you're talking to somebody on the phone, you're trying to get a deal done. I'm with Freedom Hawk. Okay, what is that? And then, or if you're talking to somebody about Freedom Hawk Home Buyers, they know exactly what the deal's about or what the conversation
100%.
is.
100%.
Okay.
We're there to buy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, man, I've seen you've been busy. You've been doing podcast, and you've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah.
It's podcasts.
Yeah.
You've been out there, speaking at events.
Yeah.
What did last year look like for you?
Man, last year, I think for a lot of people, right, it was a very polarizing year for me personally. I know most people collectively can probably feel the same way. A lot of really, really big highs, really, really low lows. And a lot of that was just business stuff that was completely that had nothing to do with the COVID. It was just business, right, and things like that. But so last year was really great. We were doing really, really well the first 3 or 4 months of the year, and then COVID came. And it was rough there for about 2 or 3 months because sellers were apprehensive about getting into a real estate contract just because all the uncertainty, and buyers were reluctant to buy because of the uncertainty, right? So, we went through that for a few months, and then we kind of got back on track. and went through some more challenges with the business. Shifting some people, adding some people, removing some people, etc. And it was a wild ride last year, man. Last year was a very, like I said, very polarizing. But it allowed me to be where I am now, where now it's like I feel like we have a solid foundation and we're really starting to take off, so everything that happened last year was supposed to happen. But it was just a lot of growth, man, a lot of growth, I think, for me personally and for our company.
Yeah, and it's an interesting time to get into real estate investing. So if you want to be a landlord or have a duplex, multiplex, an apartment complex, right now a lot of people are not having jobs, and the government has been able to help, and there's some new stuff that looks like they're going in, but then there's also like, well, you don't have to pay your student loans, and what about your rent? Well, it's like the bills still have to get paid, right?
Yeah, exactly. So real estate's an opportunity for people, to dive in. Anybody can do real estate. It's not rocket science, right? It's just, having some connections and understanding some basic stuff. But yeah, real estate, I think, everyone should be participating in some sort of real estate,
Yeah, I saw a graphic the other day, and it was like, oh, if you're in your 20s, this is a good suggestion of like 10% real estate, stocks, and all this other stuff. And as you get older, what makes sense to invest. But the thing was, real estate was on every single one of them.
Dude, it's a cornerstone, right? That's the foundation. So, and anybody can do it. It's not, we're not coding. We're not like, developing an app. It's not some complicated thing. It's just, it's anybody can do it. It's practical as long as you have the right people to help you with the process. I mean, anybody can get into some sort of real estate investing.
Yeah, and it's hard to find those people sometimes. Like, how do you find the right person to look up to? I guess there's so many different ways to do it.
Yeah,
right.
So many different ways to skin a cat in real estate. A lot of different philosophies and strategies. I think you have to find the right strategy that is going to align with your lifestyle, and so for some people that maybe they have a good W-2 income, but they want to have maybe a side income, then probably the best route for them is to have a few rental properties, right? To have that cash flow coming in. Like, they don't need to be out there marketing nationwide for properties. It doesn't make sense for their life. Someone that's more entrepreneurial, like myself, then it makes sense probably to put yourself out there a little bit more and market and spend money on marketing and go out there and try to acquire properties yourself. So it just really depends on kind of where you are, but there's so many different things you can do in real estate. You can flip, you can buy and hold. You got AirBnBs, multifamily. I mean, you can partner on deals. I mean, wholesale deals. I mean, it's endless,
Yeah. So I have a friend that's looking for a house right now. He wants to live in it. I was like, dude, just get a duplex. And then, live in one and, it sounds good. Yeah. But, it depends on where you're looking. We look at real estate in Galveston and just like on apps and on websites and stuff. And I was like, everything's so expensive for what
Galveston,
it is.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I guess, maybe, you mentioned Airbnb or like renting it out and stuff. And that's like a new.
Well, I think, look, I don't know. I don't have Airbnb. I don't know much about Airbnb. I mean, I get it, but, I do know some people that do Airbnbs in Galveston. They kill it.
Yeah.
So I think it's an awesome maybe thing to definitely look into for sure.
Yeah, it's worth exploring.
It's definitely worth exploring. 100%.
If it makes money, then it makes sense.
That's it, man. Yep, 100%.
Yeah, I think Conor McGregor said that the other day when he was talking about fighting Jake Paul.
Yeah, Jake Paul. Yeah.
Because there was like a $50 million offer on the table. It's like, okay, this doesn't make sense, right? And he's like, well, $50 million.
Well,
maybe
so now Jake Paul's fighting Askren.
He can't box.
I know, man.
But he can take a hit. He's grown up in it,
I'll be honest with you, like, I don't want Jake Paul to win, okay?
Right.
Because I have so much respect for the guys that do that and they spend their whole lives. If Jake Paul wins, I know we're going off on a tangent here, but if Jake Paul wins, I just I don't know, man. I feel like it's gonna be a slap in the face to professional MMA fighters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping Askren can develop some striking skills and
and he like meticulously picked who either I'm going for the biggest
name
dog, Conor McGregor, where it's going to generate all kinds of pay-per-view money because people are going to pay to want to see him lose, right?
I pay for that, yeah.
Or Ben Askren because he's done it at the highest level, but what's his strength?
He's a wrestler.
He's grappling, wrestling.
Yeah.
But it's a good business decision for Jake Paul and even Ben Askren.
Well, I was watching an interview with Askren. This is actually the highest paid fight he'll ever have. Dude, that's crazy, right? So, I mean, all the UFC fights and all the professional fights, this is the highest paid fight. So, of course, he's going to take the deal.
Okay, here's the other thing. So, Barstool Sports, the rough and rowdy thing, did you see anything about Jose Canseco? He got, knocked out in the first 5-6 seconds, and he got paid $1 million.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was this past weekend. And
he got knocked out?
He got knocked out. Well, it was like a TKO because he went down, it was a flurry, and he was fighting a big guy, but he's not a he's not a pro athlete.
Right.
But Jose Canseco's dude, he's old, right?
Yeah, he's old.
But he's in good shape.
Yeah.
He might have juiced a little.
He was juicing. Right? Come on, with Jose. Man, he's not even shy about it. Yeah.
So he got knocked out, but he was like, my shoulder. And then Barstool Sports, the president and CEO, was like, dude, you took a dive, but he made $1 million, and it was a huge pay-per-view success and everything else.
I didn't see that. That's crazy. Yeah. Dang, man. Well, I think we're in the wrong business, man. Maybe I don't know. But,
promoting fights.
Promoting fights, man, for sure. That's big business.
Yeah. But, okay, right now it's 9:17. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. Talking to Blake Hawkins, Freedom Hawk home buyers. And, Blake, you're from this area. There's been a lot that's happened in real estate. It seems like it's always a good investment, but I guess the market goes up and down, right? What kind of swing are we in right now?
Well, on the retail side, it's a strong seller's market, right? So, what that means is there's more buyers than sellers. So that's great for sellers, right? Now, that's on the retail side. So properties right now that are listed on the MLS are, going single-digit days, or they're flying off the shelves. Which is awesome for investors that are doing flips, because whenever they list it, there's a whole lot of buyers there.
Can you describe what is a flip?
Yeah, so a flip is just simply buying a property, ideally at a discount. Okay, you're buying it as is, so it's going to be in its current condition. So obviously it's going to need repairs, it's going to need updates, and the whole idea is to basically put those updates into the property. Fix up the property to where it's up to retail standards, and then list that property on the MLS with a real estate agent, and then sell it for top dollar to a family or to someone that's going to live in the house.
Yeah, and ideally, you want that gone. That's why you're saying it's good. So if it's on the market single digit days.
Yes, yeah, you want to move those properties as fast as possible. And right now, because it's a strong seller's market, properties are selling, pretty fast, and there's a lot of buyers, throwing in offers on properties because there's a high demand. But that's on the retail side. For the investment side, it's more steady, I would say. Because on the investment side, it's more situational than tied to the market. So we're dealing with situations that are always going to be there, right? With people in their life, and vacant properties and properties that are burnt down, and there's all kind of crazy stuff, right? So we're dealing with that, and there's only a few variables on the investment side that you have to worry about. If the rehab numbers are a little bit more than expected, things to do with construction and so forth. But on the retail side, right now it's a strong seller's market. So if you're looking to sell your property and listing it with an agent, you're probably going to sell it pretty fast. There's a high demand for inventory, so yeah.
Yeah, and whenever you're looking for, I guess, an investment property, you have a friend that is what are those things that you're looking for? What are the qualities?
Man, you need to know your numbers, right? So that numbers are going to be the most important aspect on an investment property. It's not about how it looks. It's not about the aesthetics. It's not about, is the grass cut. It's about, do the numbers make sense where I can, whenever I sell this property, there is going to be some sort of profit there, right? Because you're adding a lot of value, I think really I like to look at a real estate investors is there's, obviously investors are there to make a profit. But at the same time, if you don't have real estate investors, then a lot of these neighborhoods lose value over time because properties just sit and decay. So there's, I believe what I saw a stat about 15 million vacant homes in the United States, right? So if you don't have investors going after those properties and wanting to, rehab them and add value to them and put them back on the marketplace, that brings down the value of the neighborhood, right? Properties just decay. So if I'm someone looking for an investment property, I'm just looking for numbers that make sense. If you don't know anything about real estate, you can always call a local real estate agent who's in that area, and they can give you an idea of what that property is worth fully fixed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you want to start there. That's kind of where you want to start.
Okay. Yeah, I was driving, with my friend again. He was looking for a house, and there was a street where there was a couple houses. They're building brand new houses. Like, I don't know if there was anything there, or they either tore what was down, but there's like these brand new homes, and there's one that maybe was fixed up, and I was like, hey, the street looks nice.
Yeah.
I don't know what it looked like 5 years ago, but
Right.
those are brand new houses.
Absolutely.
So that it looks nice, and it feels better.
Yeah, and you got to have that, because if real estate investors are not rehabbing and flipping, then properties just fall apart. You know what I mean? So it's crucial for the housing industry.
So we've talked about this in the past, but how does Freedom Hawk Home Buyers help people?
Yeah.
How do you help people?
So simply on the investment side, we help people sell properties that are highly difficult to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for example, we deal with a lot of inherited properties. So these are properties that, like right now, we have a lot in Houston where the seller is in Louisiana. He inherited the property from his uncle. Okay. His uncle didn't have any children or anything like that, so he actually just kind of willed it over to his nephew. Now, if he wanted to go sell this with a real estate agent, there's a lot of issues there, because there's no paperwork has been done. There's no clear inheritance. The title is still in the uncle's name, who's obviously passed away. So we're gonna actually do all the legwork for this guy and help clear title, so he can actually sell it and get paid on it. And that there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people don't see. Us coordinating with a title company, us dealing with attorneys, us doing paperwork, us helping him find the appropriate people to sign off on stuff, right? So that's just one example of how we can help someone. A lot of times with these properties that are highly distressed, they need massive rehab, they need massive work. There's usually a story behind that, right? So if you have a distressed property, there's usually a distressed situation. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
They kind of go hand in hand, and it could be a financial burden, it could be a family problem. There's all kind of messy situations, right? Where right now we're doing a deal in Pasadena where we're going to close on it next week, where it's a great family. They've been there for about 15 years. They're paying a mortgage on it. They don't want to pay a mortgage because the house is falling apart. I mean, literally, it needs a new roof, it needs new AC, it needs a new foundation. Everything, right? And so here they are paying this mortgage every single month, but their living conditions are not ideal, and they need the cash, right? So we're coming in saying, listen, and then we actually had to do some title stuff for them too. We're gonna close on this deal. They're gonna walk away with $30,000 in their pocket, and they're gonna take that $30,000. They're gonna rent for the first year, because they have some cash flow to be able to do that, and then now they have time to go find something new.
It's not rushed into a situation,
rushed, right? And so, and we're helping them with a storage unit, and we're giving them a little bit money up front so they can find an apartment, right? So we're problem solvers, and that's a lot of stuff I think for on the front end on the investment stuff that no one sees. Even when we sell it to an investor, that investor doesn't see all the legwork that went into that deal. I mean, we do real estate, but really at the end of the day, we're just solving complex problems that have to do with properties.
Yeah. How important is creativity and experience whenever it comes to doing those specific type of deals and real estate in general?
Man, you got to think outside the box. You got to be super creative, and you got to be solution minded, because if you're going to come against what it looks like roadblocks to not be able to get a deal done, but there's always a creative solution, right? And we actually do creative financing too. And creative financing is, I don't want to get into the weeds on it, but it's another option for people to sell their property where it makes sense for them. You can do, basically they can sell it seller financing, so we could put money down, like a down payment, and then we buy the property on terms, and we're paying them a monthly note, and then we can go sell that note to another investor, and then I mean, I can go off on tangents on this, but you got to have creativity. You got to be unorthodox, and you got to always find a solution, because on these off-market properties, very rarely is it just super clean and super easy. There's always going to be some sort of snag in the deal, but that's why we're there, and that's why, you know, it could be potentially be a profitable situation for everybody, because there needs to be a solution.
Yeah.
You know?
Does it ever seem like it's a tense? Sometimes it gets tense, or
all the time.
There's a lot of money, a lot of money involved, right?
All the time,
it's
man.
stressful.
It's stressful. It's usually more stressful for the sellers, because, you know, the average person does 1 or 2 real estate transactions their whole life. Okay, so I have to remind myself, and I have to remind our team, that we do this every day. You know, like I think right now we have 12, 13 properties in escrow, and it can become so humdrum that you just get so used to it, you know. But for a seller, this is like a big life event. This is a big deal, right? I mean, they're selling an asset, you know, that they own, their family owns, and so for them, it could potentially be, it usually is some sort of stress involved, because it's a big decision. So there's always kind of a weird dynamic with that, but it's our job to kind of be the steady person to say, hey, this is really what to expect. And we have to educate them on the process. That way they feel confident in what we're doing, right? I think information and education is what clears up all that anxiety. You know, and I'll have sellers call me, hey, you know, what's going on? When are we closing? And when they're doing that, I know I'm not doing something right. So I go, okay, we're not being clear enough with them, and we're not giving them enough information. So then we'll kind of hold their hand even more, and we'll say, hey, listen, thank you for calling. This is exactly where we are in the process, and these are the next 3 or 4 steps that are going to happen, and then we're going to get this thing done for you, right?
Yeah.
And then they calm down, right?
Yeah.
So it's just people want information. They want information, and they want clarity. You know, so that's the most important thing.
And with real estate, things are tricky, because it never, like you said, something always comes up.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, here's the product, and boom, and it's like a straight line. No, it's a snag, or it's like, well, we got to wait, because real life happens, you know.
There's a lot of moving pieces in real estate, a lot of different variables, and you're dealing with a lot of different people, and you got buyers, you got sellers, you got title companies. You know, you got appraisers and inspection guys and contractors, and there's all these different people involved. Finance, you know, people that finance deals. So there's all kind of different variables. I look at real estate as a puzzle. So like those are all different pieces. My job is to make sure we put all the pieces together and get it done. So.
Yeah. Did you like puzzles as a kid? Do you still like puzzles?
I do like puzzles. I like putting things together. Right.
Like Legos?
I like Legos, man. I do. It's cool because you can create, you can build, you can take something that was nothing and make something happen. And that's essentially what we do with off-market real estate. Is these are deals that were not deals. We're creating deals. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's fun, man. I love it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So whenever a deal is done, do you sometimes miss it? You know, does that make sense?
No.
It doesn't make sense. Like it's
No. When a deal is done, dude, I take a deep breath.
Move on.
I take a deep breath, and I'm like, I'm glad we got that done.
We said you have 12 or 13 in escrow.
Yeah.
That means like the deal it's done. It's sitting in the bank, or what does that mean?
Well, no, it's in escrow. What I meant is it's at the title company.
Okay.
So these are deals that we're moving to a closing date.
Okay.
Right. So ideally, we want all of them to close. You know, but they don't all close. You know, our conversion ratio from contract to close is about 70%. So if we contract 10 properties, we're going to close on 7. And why don't we close on the other 3? It's usually a title problem that is just massively and nothing. There's always a solution, but it could be an uncooperative party. That's usually what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's an uncooperative party in title. So that's going to be that's something we can't control. Or it could be, you know, the construction was too much on the property or something, right? But 7 out of 10 properties we're going to close. So if we have 10 in there, we're going to close 7.
I think whenever you're communicating with anyone, and you're a great communicator, y'all want the same thing.
Absolutely.
It's like we're on the same team.
Yep.
We're not against each other.
No.
this is what we agree on, and we both want the same thing.
100%.
And we're working together, so let's make it happen.
Yep.
There's a little snag, but we can work together. It's
Absolutely.
teamwork.
And we have to communicate that and convey that to the sellers and even the buyers, because you're right. We all want the deal to close, right? Like, we have interest in it. The seller has interest. The buyer has interest. Sometimes we're the actual buyer and we'll close on it, so we have interest in that. We're all on the same page. But sometimes you need to communicate that because people need to hear that. They need to know that. And because, just the human dynamic, whenever you're doing a real estate deal and there's money involved, sometimes, it's just human nature. They need to know. They need to have that certainty that, hey, we're all in this together. This getting to the end zone is going to benefit all of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You think of sales, it's like, oh, I'm being sold. Or like, oh, they're trying to make, yes, there is money made, but you're making money too, and it's fair. And if we agree on it,
right,
then let's go.
Yeah, and a service doesn't take place or a product isn't delivered until it's sold, right? I mean, and I think, just on the sales aspect, I agree. Like the kind of the old philosophy of being a hard salesperson, I don't really subscribe to that. I think that's off base, right? But being a good salesperson just means you believe in what you do and you're communicating that to a willing participant. If they're not willing participant, then I don't, you can't really have a proper sales process. But yeah, I mean, I'm sold. There's things. I mean, I went into where did I go? I think it was Dillard's or something. And I was gonna buy a pair of shoes. I ended up buying 3 pairs of shoes, because the guy was just a great salesman, right?
Yeah.
But he gave me what I already wanted.
Right.
I wanted the Kenneth Cole this and that. I wanted all that. He just communicated and presented it to me, and I was like, "Yeah, man, let's do it."
Yeah.
So
that's why sometimes, like, when I'm talking to my wife, I'm like, "Man, look at this guitar, look at those shoes, or these boots, or this, that." Yeah, and she's like, "Well, just get it." And I'm okay. You just kind of wait for that last thing. Yeah, I wanted to get them anyway.
Absolutely. It's just sometimes you just need that person to nudge you along.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, right now it's 9:32. This is KHEA Radio.com, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. My name is Gardy. I'm talking with Blake Hawkins with Freedom Hawk Home Buyers, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the world right now. Whenever it comes, you mentioned something earlier about whenever you're the buyer. So what does a deal like that look like? What does that mean? If you buy it, y'all are doing the renovation and put on the market?
So we'll buy properties too. Like, we bought one in Port Lavaca last week. We closed on it. It's a duplex and it's cash flowing really, really well. So it's going to be a great cash flow property. What we're probably going to do is own it for maybe 6 months, and then we're going to just go ahead and list it and then just move it along and take the cash, from that. But yeah, so if we have a property and we're dealing with a seller and we're actually going to buy it, then we'll, our company will close on the property and we'll take full ownership of it. And then we'll either, we kind of stay away from full rehabs, to be honest with you. So what we do is they call wholesaling. And essentially what it is, it's kind of like a wholesale, but instead of taking the property and, selling it to an investor, we're taking that property and selling it to a family. So what we're doing is we're buying the property from the seller, putting it on the market, but we're doing some minor stuff. We're cleaning it up, we're painting, carpet, maybe do some roof stuff, just where it's livable and it's clean.
Not ripping out walls.
We're not ripping out walls, yeah. And then we're going to sell it to a family at a discount. So they're going to buy it at a discount on the real estate market. And then that family can, repair the property, and now they have equity in it, so they're buying it at a good price, and then they can put their repairs and so forth, and fix it how they want to fix it.
Okay, so earlier I asked you if you ever miss any of the deals, like, man, I'm going to miss that property, just because. But do you ever, like, and I'm trying to think of the right way to ask. I wrote it down, so. Is it ever hard to walk away from a deal because it's like almost there and it's like I could probably make it work, but the numbers just don't quite make sense?
It's super hard. You know what I mean? Because I'm always wanting a solution. I'm always wanting to get the deal done. It's very challenging to be like, this is not going to work, right? And I've made mistakes in the past where I have pushed the numbers to try to make it work, because they call it, like, I'm a deal junkie, right? So as a recovering deal junkie, you have to know when to walk away, right? Because I always like to come to some sort of agreement and get something done. And I've made mistakes in the past where we've done properties and we put it under contract for maybe the numbers it shouldn't have been, but I was just eager to do it. So that does happen. But we're getting better. I'm getting better at saying, hey, listen, this doesn't work, and being really transparent with the seller. That Port Lavaca deal that we did, I was proud of our team, proud of myself, the way we handled that, because this is a property we really wanted to do, but we had to buy it at a certain price point. And the seller was about $14,000 higher than that price point.
Mm-hmm.
And very nice people, but I literally had to make a phone call to him and say, listen, we're not trying to play no games. This is literally what we want to, we want to buy it. Okay. There's no fluff here. We want to buy it, but we have to be at this price. And these are our few logical reasons why. So that way they know I'm just not making up stuff. And if you can do that, we're going to do it. If not, we're not going to hassle you or haggle you. We respect where you want to be. And so they were like, okay, great. They hung up. And then 2 weeks later, we did the deal, but I had to just be upfront and say, hey, this is where we're at. 2 years ago, I would have tried to make it work at their price just because I was so eager to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would do it, and then the numbers weren't right, and then I would have to go back and be like, I don't think this works, and then there's this weird tension.
Yeah.
And so we can't do that, right? So we're just really upfront with the seller and even the buyer saying, hey, listen, this truly is the best that we can do. Obviously, there's some negotiating. You want to negotiate and get the best deal that you can, but there is sort of a bottom line, and you have to honor that, and we can't deviate from that number.
Mm-hmm. That's the same thing with cars, and it's like, I don't know what the bottom line is, but
right.
being open and showing the seller and be like, this is where we have to go for it to make sense.
It makes people feel more comfortable, and it helps people concede to the number, right? Because if they don't really know, and like I said, it goes back to information education. If they really don't know, then in their head, in the back of their head, they're going to be like, this guy's trying to hustle me. Mm-hmm. Is this really his best number? You know what? I think I can do something better. Understandable. That's human nature, right? So it's our job to be as transparent as we possibly can, and say, hey, listen, this really is the best we can do. Here are the 2 or 3 reasons why. And we're not playing no games. We really can do this, and we want to do it.
Okay, All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the sales guy at Dillard's, right? A little bit ago.
Yeah.
If you're good at sales, are you good at sales? Would you be good at real estate as well?
I believe so. I believe that if you're a good salesperson, to me, all that means is you're good at connecting and communicating with people. That's it. That's all sales is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's connecting. It's communicating. There's nothing more to it. Sales is not some mystical, thing. I don't necessarily believe people are born natural salesmen. I think you can develop it. I think some people are naturally a little bit more gifted at it. But if you're good at communicating, you're good at connecting. And hold on one second. Oops, sorry.
It's 9:38. It's KHEARadio.com. Talking to Blake Hawkins with Freedom Home Buyers here in studio, and we're talking about what makes a good salesperson.
Yeah, if
that
you're
crossover.
Absolutely. And if you're good at communicating and connecting with people, you can take those 2 attributes and you can apply it to literally anything, right? So the next factor is you have to truly believe in what you're doing. So you can be good at connecting, good at communicating, but if you're kind of one leg in, one leg out, then people pick up on that, and that's where you're gonna have an issue. But if you can communicate and you can connect with people, you're a great salesperson, and you believe in what you're doing, you can be successful, and that includes real estate. If you like real estate and you're passionate about it, and you're a good salesperson, you can be successful at it, 100%.
So, what are your goals for this year? What are some goals that you have for 2021? What does the rest of the year look like for you?
Man, goals are just my overarching theme is just always personal growth. You know what I mean? I just want to improve as a person, as a better business owner, a better leader. I feel like I'm actually becoming an actual business owner. My first couple years, I was just trying to figure it out, right? I'm running around, scrambling around. I didn't know what the heck was going on as far as the actual logistics of running a business. I have more of a grasp and a handle on that. So I want to continue to evolve on that, to put my team in the right position to be successful and to continue to move us forward. as far as like actual tangible goals for us at, Freedom Hawk Home Buyers, we want to eventually this year, we're actually working on the marketing stuff. We want to start doing nationwide deals. We do stuff in Texas. We want to do some stuff nationwide, and just continue to grow, man, and have all my guys be successful and my team be successful, and start, some other ventures, with the, podcasts and do some, networking events that are consistent on a monthly basis. Some creative marketing stuff, for other companies. I mean, yeah, it's just overall growth and expansion, man. That's really the goal.
I've seen it. I've seen it in real life and watched it on social media and see you get out in spite of everything going on. So it's been really inspiring to myself to see.
Awesome, man. That's the goal, right? I mean, that's kind of like a motivating factor. I always kind of look at it as, in spite of what is going on in the world or whatever, I want to press forward to, maybe give someone else an opportunity to say, hey, anyone can do this. You know what I mean? You don't have to be anybody special or have any sort of special talent. You just got to have the willingness to go out there and you can do it.
Put yourself out there.
That's it.
Hey, is there anything else you'd like to share this morning?
No, man. I think we're good. We covered a lot. I mean, I'm just grateful to be on the show, man. I think my first time here was December of 2018, and it seems like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? It really does, even though it was like 2.5 years or whatever it was. But no, man, I'm just grateful to be here. I always love, coming and joining you guys, so it's awesome.
Thank you. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM.